This week on Mgahawa.
We saw, interestingly, in the last session of Parliament, the narrative, at least, that's been, sort of evolving in the media and elsewhere, is that the opposition, for the first time, with the help of Parliament, really pushed or compelled the government into essentially changing its cabinet. What does that mean in terms of the political establishment and going forward, the future of politics in Tanzania now?
No, I think going forward, the executive office now has to take clear watch of what is taking place in Parliament.
Right.
The parliamentarians are no longer the docile group of, let's say, the 70s or the 80s. Things have seriously changed. I think, the way information flows move, the way people communicate with one another has changed.
Right.
Messages move much faster, and information moves much faster than it ever has at any given point in our history and time, giving people an opportunity to be able to judge or come up with opinions much faster. Okay, so you have a much more well-informed society, sometimes misinformed, but because of that, parliamentarians react quicker, the press reacts quicker. So the executive wing of government also now has to learn how to react under these changing times.
Right, so going forward, what is CCM's vision for governance? And Chadema, for that matter. Like, you don't see anyone articulating, perhaps, especially now, as both of you have suggested, that we're going into, a very important general election. No one is articulating clearly why they should be in power, based on what principles and convictions.
Omar,
and where
in Africa, generally in Africa, you do not have political parties now with a philosophy or an ideology.
Do you think, these Wamsho people are essentially using historical and political sort of justification or mask, as it were?
There are grievances.
Yeah,
I think the...
To sort of, bring, but their role or their sort of real agenda is political in nature.
It is, yes, political in nature.
It is political.
And what's that agenda?
At a certain level, there is a feeling, and I understand it, that Zanzibar is being too much subsumed under certain identities. Like if you form a commission, for instance, like the commission formed by His Excellency the President, which includes half of the members from the mainland and half the members from Zanzibar. There's a feeling in certain quarters in Zanzibar that this is too much of subsuming Zanzibar under a certain identity that is union, without taking into account the specificity of Zanzibari experience and the Zanzibari expression. There are people on the mainland who think that Tanganyika should be given more prominence than it is being given right now, and that maybe what should have happened before we got into the constitutional process would have been a soul-searching on the part of Tanganyika and the part of Zanzibar, looking at the union as maybe a desirable entity, but which needs to be interrogated by both sides, so that in the end you come back, you ask the people of Tanganyika, do you really want this union? And the people of Zanzibar, do you want this union to continue? And then once that agreement has been obtained, then sit down and write your constitution. Right. It's a long and tedious, painstaking process. But unless you go through that route, you are likely to end up with problems.
As I understand it, that's what this commission is meant to be doing. Travel around the country and seek opinion on these issues. I'm afraid we have to go for another break. When we come back, we'll now truly interrogate the media's role in these conversations. Stay tuned. You've been watching Mgahawa.
Catch Mgahawa every Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Mgahawa, globally local.